Hey guys, what's up? Ruben here from the Midnight Garage. Case right now is too busy doing stuff like this. And therefore I need to finish his car for him. And one of the things that still needs to be done is to make a clutch line. So today I'm going to show you guys how to flare your own clutch or brake line. The first thing you need is a hard line. I'm going to use a copper hard line like you can see right now. The reason that I use a copper hardline is first up because it's very easy to get, because you can just go to a car parts store and buy a roll of it and it's not very expensive. And secondly, obviously you can't use like a straight piece of copper, you need to bend them in shape, and as I can show you right now, copper is very easy to bend, and that's definitely what you need for your brake line in order to fit it across the surface that you need to fit it across. Now, say that you are making like a shaved engine bay and you want something that looks really nice and you think the hand bent copper lines aren't good enough, then I would definitely recommend a tool like this, because if you use a tool like this, you can simply press it and then you can create a nice bend like that. For Case, I'm not going to use it because, well, I know how Case treats his cars and it's just not worth it to create such a nice line, but if you want to do that, this is definitely the tool for you. The last thing I want to show is if you want to bend it by hand, just use your thumb, hold it like this and just bend it piece by piece. Don't bend it too much, or don't use a wrench, because if you do it like that, then you will fold it like you can see right now, and this is actually very dangerous, so do not do this. Now that I've discussed the hard lines, I want to talk a little bit about the fittings. These are the original fittings from the left-hand drive clutch line. Obviously this car is right-hand drive, so I can't use the old lines, but these were the fittings I cut off. And since I didn't know which sizes they were, obviously I could Google it, but I just went to a car parts store, showed these, and I got two similar ones that should do the trick. And if you can't find anything, these were still in fairly good shape, so I could reuse them, but I prefer to just get some new ones. So now we have the fittings, we have the hard line, but now we need to figure out how long the hard line needs to be and where you need to cut it. So what I usually do is I grab a piece of rope, fold it all the way across the shape that I want to have the hard line in, and then at the point where it connects to both sides, I have the correct size, I cut it off, I take it out. So then you grab your rope, you hold it next to the hard line, move it all the way across, and then at the end of the rope, you know exactly where to cut it. Now you know the spot where to cut, you've marked it on the hard line, and now you need a tool like this. This tool is called a pipe cutter. Well, guess what it does? Sometimes I'm so home. Sometimes I know I'm so home. Sometimes I'm so home. Now we have one cut pipe. Now what I usually like to do is, because as you can see right here, it's a little bit messy. So I grab the end of a drill a little bit and then I deburr it slightly. Right now everything is all set up. I got the new fittings, I got my hardline cut to size. Now I just need to assess the type of flare that my old fittings have. And I'm going to oversimplify a little bit, but if you would cut your brake line or clutch line in half, you would have one of three types of flares. The first one looks like this. This is a single flare. Then you have one that looks like this. This is a bubble flare. And then you have one like this, and that's a double flare. I just realized that I actually need a macro lens for this because it's just really small. But if you look closely, you can see that it's a double flare, so it's all folded inwards. But if you have a different type of flare on your car, don't worry, I'm going to show you how to make all three right now. And in order to make it, you need a brake flaring toolkit, and that looks like this. So the single flare is the easiest. Put it in the tool and then make sure it sticks out only slightly. I usually make sure that it sticks out about 1 millimeter. Then you grab your anvil, you put that over the brake that you want to flare, tighten it like this, and then in a few seconds we should be done. voila, a single flare. For a bubble flare you need to use the black tool that you can see right next to the brake line, and you also need to make sure that the brake line sticks out slightly more. It needs to stick out just as much as the staggered part of that black tool. So for the bubble flare we need to put the black tool in the brake line like that. Then we once again grab the anvil, put it over there, and then we do the same as what we did just now. And let's see how that turned out. And this is a bubble flare. And the double flare is basically a combination of the two. You grab the bubble flare you made just now, grab your anvil, push the bubble flare inwards, and you're done. Now a double flare is just slightly safer and stronger than a single flare, but I do want to say one more thing, and that is if you have your fittings and you're going to make your brake line or your clutch line, put the fittings on before you actually flare your brake lines, because once you flared it, there's no way back and you can't put your fittings on. Like I've used this test bit to show you guys how to make the fittings. There's no way I can put a flare on right now. It doesn't matter because it was just a test bit, but keep in mind that you put the flare on first. And now the only thing that's left is to install them. Make sure you use some pipe wrenches and make sure that the hardline doesn't get stuck in between somewhere and folds. And other than that, you should be good to go. It's fairly easy. And that's it. You're done. Now, I do want to say that even though this was just a video to show you guys how to make your own brake or clutch lines, I also know how to tuck them and how to hide everything so you pretty much don't see anything. So if you guys are interested in that, I can make a follow-up video, but if you guys are interested, just post in the comments so I know that it's actually worth it for me to make that video, because that's a whole lot of work. So yeah guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys liked it. Leave a like if you did, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of cases, ride and drive Honda Civic Turbo, and then hopefully we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.